Happy game day, Hokie Nation. Giovanni Heater joined alongside Kyle Marchak, Carter Hill, producing behind the scenes with you today on your Wednesday drive home. Thanks so much for being with us. We got it all covered for you. Men's basketball, women's basketball, and transfer portal conversation. TSL today on a Wednesday starts right now. We welcome you in and thank you so much for joining us, however you may be listening, whether that be on Spotify, YouTube. We really appreciate it. Feel free to leave some comments and feedback down below. We always want to continue to improve the show and put out the best possible product. Kyle, let's go ahead and dive right into things here with our news and updates. A little bit of action going on in the transfer portal on the Virginia Tech side of things. First of all, they have offered a handful of different guys, and it's tough to really pick out which ones they're serious about, but it's all on Twitter, and you can check that out. David Cunningham continuously retweets and has commentary about that. Chris Coleman as well. But let's right now focus on the guys that are transferring out of Tech. Tyler Matheny enters the transfer portal. He's the 12th Hokie to enter the portal. On top of that, Eli Adams enters the transfer portal. That makes him the 13th. Jamari Connor, star safety for Virginia Tech, a captain this past season, decides that he will forego one more year of eligibility and he will be entering the NFL draft. And this is a big one, though. Nasir Peoples is going to return to Virginia Tech next season. Feels like there's some unfinished business there. That is absolutely huge for the depth in the secondary of this Virginia Tech team.
Yeah, I had that wrote down in my notes too. For Peoples to want to stay is big, especially with Connor deciding to forego that extra year. Virginia Tech is one of those schools right now where after a 3-win season, everyone's just kind of packing up their stuff and, ready to try and make that move to a bigger program. So that's just the fact of the matter right now. It's pretty tough. But you got to just trust that the coaching staff's going to handle the depth issues as well as they can. But people staying helps the secondary tremendously. So that's good to see.
That's always good news right there to have. No doubt about that. Let's go ahead and move into men's basketball talk here. Virginia Tech welcomes the Dayton Flyers to Castle Coliseum tonight, 8 p.m. tip-off. You can watch it on the ACC network. Virginia Tech opens up as 7-point favorites at home. Hokies come in 8-1 on the season, 6-0 inside Castle Coliseum. The Dayton Flyers on the other side. This was supposed to be their year. They said, well, with the Obi Toppin season, they were disappointed that the NCAA tournament gets canceled. That was one of the best teams in program history for Dayton. That season gets canceled. This was supposed to be that year that they really bounce back, have a really good year, and have a very competitive team. Open in the top 25 this season. Since then, have not really delivered. 5-4 on the year. They're 0-1 on the road. So coming into today, ESPN has Virginia Tech a 68% favorite to win this ball game. Like I mentioned, 7-point spread in favor of the Hokies. Should be a good crowd at Castle Coliseum tonight. It's a Wednesday evening matchup, but this was one of the premier non-conference matchups we had on the schedule.
Yeah, I mean, after UNC, I think the crowd's going to be very good in Castle for this one, especially because after getting votes, honestly, I was shocked to see that the VT men's squad didn't kind of squeak their way in, maybe 25 or 24 in the country, but 29 ain't half bad. So I'm not shocked to see a really good crowd tonight at 8 p.m. against the Flyers, a team that's, kind of that perennial powerhouse out of the A10 as well. So it should be a good one.
Got to look out for Deron Holmes II for Dayton, averaging 15.9 points per game, also shooting the ball 56% from the field, and he can shoot it from three as well. They got another guy, Kamara. He's their forward on the inside that he's averaging almost 10 rebounds a game, so he's going to offer a little bit of trouble for Virginia Tech, standing at 6'8", so he's probably going to be who Mutz is going to be tied up on. So Mutz and Kamara will be an interesting matchup. Tumani Kamara, excited to see how that works out. He's also averaging about 2 assists a game to Justin Mutz's 4. So those are two pivotal pieces. That's going to kind of be the matchup I'm looking forward to most. And then Elvis, their guard, really can facilitate the ball well. 10 points a game, but also 4 rebounds, shooting the ball at 40% from the field. So they're a well-rounded squad. On the other side, though, Virginia Tech, I think, has a lot of mismatches here. And I think it starts with Sean Padula. What he has done as far as getting the ball inside and using his post move ability, which sounds weird for such a small guard, has been a difference maker because you're getting a lot of production out of the point guard position.
which is huge for him to perform well in the post and, mid-range area in general, because I think that will be probably the key to the game for the Hokies. They have to perform well in the paint. Now, Dayton's a really interesting squad because they press with a fast pace up the floor. Elvis runs that ball from baseline to baseline really, really quickly. So Virginia Tech has to keep up with that pace. On top of that, they're awkward with that because they press the pace super fast like they're a guard-heavy squad, but they aren't. Their top three scorers are Holmes, Mziel, and Kamara. Elvis is the point guard, obviously. He's the fourth highest scorer. Holmes is 6'10", Mziel is 6'9", Kamara is 6'8". Those are all forwards right there, all legit like 3, 4, 5 type players right there. So I, as you alluded to, believe that will be the struggle for Virginia Tech. They have to out-rebound this squad. They've been getting out-rebounded. I believe it's a higher margin for Dayton as well. They're at about 38 rebounds a game, and we're at 35.9. So it's a slight difference there. That and just making sure you can score in the paint because it's a big team that they're playing.
Tech is 8-7 against the Flyers all time. These two teams met a year ago in Ohio. Dayton won that one 62-57. A disappointing performance in a hostile atmosphere last year in Ohio, but this time they got to come to Blacksburg. They also met in 2019-2020 in the Maui Invitational. That was a blowout win for Dayton. They beat the Hokies 89-62 that day on Thanksgiving week. Before that, the Hokies won 64-52 all the way back in 1999-2000. So really in recent history, these two teams have met twice. Dayton has won both of them. They've been kind of an Achilles heel for Virginia Tech. So the Hokies trying to get over that hump today with an opportunity at home against a struggling Dayton squad that really, on paper, they should be able to beat here. Dayton comes into today averaging 65 points per game, but they're a very good defensive squad. They're only allowing just under 60 points per game. Yeah. They're shooting the ball 44% from the field. And on the other side, Virginia Tech averaging 77 points a game, 65 points allowed, which still ain't bad. And they're shooting the ball at 50% from the field, which is very efficient.
Yeah, I think, again, it just comes down to general efficiency with their shot making. Virginia Tech, when they do struggle, like that one loss they had against Charleston, they just didn't take care of the ball as well. They shot silly shots. We saw against Penn State, that one they barely won in the Charleston Classic. They just really chucked up a lot of shots they didn't need to throw up. They just need to stick to high percentage shots, taking care of the ball in the paint. And I think taking care of the ball is also a really, really pivotal concept for this. It's paramount to their success against Dayton because Dayton is a team that does not take care of the ball. They have a .97 assist to turnover ratio. So they just do not take care of the ball as well up and down the floor, which again, I think falls into the fact that they are a big team that plays like they're guard heavy. So they try and move the ball around, but all their dudes are over 6'8".
Well, you talk about taking care of the basketball. Tech is 8th in the country in assist to turnover ratio. So that is fantastic. Yeah. That is Tech is amongst the best in taking care of the ball and being efficient offensively, which is obviously fantastic to see. Looking at Dayton's schedule so far this season, Dayton has a couple of marquee type games on their schedule. They just weren't able to pull them out. One against Lindenwood, one against SMU, lost to UNLV, beat Robert Morris, lost to Wisconsin, lost to NC State, lost to BYU. They've won 2 in a row against Western Michigan and Southeastern Louisiana. So you had a chance against Wisconsin, NC State, UNLV, who's a historic program, and BYU, and you lost all 4 of them. So again, the struggle is there.
Yeah, I had that down in my notes. It's, when you are facing a powerhouse out of a smaller conference, you have to look at similar opponents. And you look at the Power 5 opponents, they just haven't been that successful. So they just haven't been that A10 type of team that we've been looking for so far. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting. Again, I think with the dynamic, it's kind of like a boxing match. It's a matchup of styles. And although Dayton isn't necessarily very good at taking care of the ball, they're kind of inefficient in a lot of spots, very, run-of-the-mill NCAA Division I type of program. They do have the advantage of size and cleaning the glass better than Virginia Tech, and that could be a difference maker, but I'd like to think because Virginia Tech is really good at taking care of the ball, they should be pretty fine against the Flyers tonight.
All right, Virginia Tech and Dayton will do battle tonight. It's 8 o'clock tip-off on the ACC Network right from Castle Coliseum. After this, we'll get you ready for Virginia Tech women's basketball ACC opener in Chestnut Hill against Boston College. TSL today on a Wednesday. We'll be back in just a sec.